Okay, so Sarah, that fear of going crazy, the implant amplifies it, but it exists organically in your field, right? That's just the hold that the implant is able to come in, and it amplifies it and makes it feel like it's, 50 times more than what it actually is to keep you from going in it. But if we kind of just allow our mind to bypass that for a second and get to the root of that fear, it is this feeling that we're unable to process all of the trauma that is here. And that is because, you and all of us right now at the same time together here is literally processing planetary, solar system, galactic trauma. And that is a lot of pain, is this feeling of, being this most pristine and sacred creation and literally having some crazy thing come in and rape it, right? Like, this is like, the amount of intensity and pain that we're moving through. And we have the tools, we have the light, we have the energy to be able to process this energy in neutrality and in clarity now, but we didn't always have that. So in the past, we would do our best to suppress that. And Siobhan says, being afraid of our power is also an implant. Absolutely. And I feel like that mostly comes from, again, the child not knowing. We didn't get people, our parents didn't tell us, our teachers didn't tell us that we have these tools, right? So without knowing that we have tools and we have this connection to source, without knowing those things, of course we would feel like we don't have the power. So we're all with you, Sarah. We're all here together. And we're so close, actually, to moving through it. Oh. So the other dimension and facet of working with the Earth Star energy is that we're remembering that the Earth is a star. And as we bring this new light, this new love, the energy and the power of our soul here through our bodies, which are extensions of her, into her, we are raising her up, raising this coordinate of this universe back up, restoring her position as a shining jewel, queen, a star. And this is when we remember, as we pull that energy, that stream of hope and light and love inwards, we realize that that is why we do it, right? Feel how much fulfillment and joy and deep sense of soul accomplishment when we're actually able to anchor in the frequency of having accomplished this task of raising the earth up as a star. And if we can anchor in that stream of consciousness, that frequency, and that becomes the medicine which alchemizes this pain. Because we remember her and ourselves, and we love her and recognize her for all the beauty and glory that she is. And that portals us into this ability to anchor in and transform that pain, to assist her restoration and reclaiming her place as a star. Whew. Ah. Whew. Okay, so this is a very crux. This is the seed. This is the place where this is a depth of connection with our soul and what our soul is doing here. We can be. This is a very clear and lucid place. At the bottom, in the soil, in the first placement of the seed, we're here to assist this planet and this quadrant of the universe in its healing and ascent from this trauma that can be articulated as rape. And all of the ways that that energy have infected and inserted itself into our culture and our society. That your life, that our life purpose and our life mission is basically to channel healing and restoration and upliftment. And this is the energy or the geometry of what we're doing. And then that can materialize in the physical reality as any variety of things. But if we can integrate this, then we're acting from 100% lucidity, and everything that we create and what we do will be acting and functioning to fulfill that level of healing. This is how we can know that we are not perpetuating the old system, which actually harms, right? To come into absolute lucidity about where our motivations and intentions are coming from, and then creating from this place of integration literally anchors that. I hope what I'm saying is making sense. Yeah, like this is like a deep level of mastery here, because not only, so this is like, this lucidity is like one piece of the alchemy, right? And having a clear vessel is another part of the alchemy. And having our aligned motivations is another part of the alchemy. And all of those things has to come through in a pot and be integrated and embodied so that you can, I mean, it's not a cerebral process. It's just an energy that gets woven into the energy system as you work with the energy over time. And of course, the intellectual understandings that we've been sharing through words are just what brings up the energy to be experienced. But as all of these codes integrates into the energy body, it won't feel like you're trying, because, you know, what the integration does is that it really becomes just the operating system of your normal state of being. And then the act of creation becomes this fluid interplay between your integrated energy system and the planet and your higher self and the sun and the evolution of everything, and also the collective, the human collective, where we are right now. Whew. Yeah, Sarah, you're so right. I can feel it. And it's just like a dam, like you're so powerful. There's so much inside of you. And I can tell that it's been frustrating because it's literally been dammed here, right? You know, between the root and sacral. And just this little flick of that energy, that little implant there, the dam is going to break and you're just going to. And that's okay, Mia. Take it easy. As I'm saying, this process took me 5 to 7 years to fully process through my body. Right? Like correcting ancestral patterns isn't something that you can do. It's kind of like, you know, the natural shaping of waterways on the earth. You can't just, you know, dig 1,000 miles of tunnels in one day to correct how water has flown, you know, that direction and shape for thousands of years. To shape those kinds of energies and how we express ourselves, it takes time and awareness, and we can only just be compassionate and recognize where we are and stay focused on what we're doing, and just give it our very best. I'll just tell you guys a little side story because it was getting a little intense in here. So I was driving to pick up Brian from the gym maybe like a month or two ago before the quarantine started. And all of a sudden I started communicating with Kara. And I just couldn't stop crying. Like I was driving, it was like a 20-minute drive. I cried all the way home. I dropped him off. I cried all the way home. And then when I got home, I had to, you know, cook really fast for an hour. So I forgot about it. And then I got back in the car. And as soon as I had my awareness back in my body, I just started crying again. And it's like every time I connect with her, I just started crying. And I was like, why is this happening? And I was just feeling like she's actually my teacher. Like not in this, your kids are your teacher kind of way, but actually that like on a soul level, she's actually like a master that is my teacher. And it makes a lot of sense because she has been kicking my ass this last 2 months, especially as we're getting closer to the birth. because it's literally like, you know, I'm saying all these things, these codes that are in disagreement, and I know about them because, you know, I've moved through them, but it's like there's so many layers to how deep this trauma grid have been inserted into the planet. And, you know, I've said this before, she's literally just like, I am not passing through that. I am not, you know, I'm not passing through that energy in the birth canal, like, do something about it. She just consistently is pointing them out, like, all the time, especially as we're getting closer to the birth. It's just getting really intense. So I'm really excited to experience, you know, that energy of not having these crazy overlays, of being born into a reality of lucidity and clarity and presence and embracement of the soul as it is. So I'm tuning into that energy here. Sorrel says, I feel afraid to let go fully into the organic matrix and trust after the destruction of time, such as Lemuria. I'm afraid to believe and live in the beauty and love, to go through the pain of its destruction again. Okay, let's see. So I'm feeling this energy in the back of the hip towards the right, but just a little bit to the right. You know, there's like these little hip pimples that we have in our back, around our pelvic area. It's the right one. Um, Linda. Okay, so I would say that this is actually almost also an implant as well. And of course, again, it is something that we feel or is an organic feeling, but then the implant can use it as a way to get into our energy body because it's an energetic weakness in our aura, and then they can amplify that feeling to keep us from actually reconnecting. So Alina, that is literally what we have been doing this whole time. I don't think we can do it any faster than how we're doing it now. Because the organic matrix is not just a one-dimensional thing that you walk to and you put your finger on it and you're like, okay, I'm here. It is a multi-dimensional expression and embodiment of energy and geometries and soul expression. So that the distortions, the false matrix exists in our intellect and our energy body, in, you know, all these different places, and we have to address all of them to reconnect to the organic matrix, which is what we have been doing, this container. And so as current, we're working through this energy in the back of the hip, which we're describing as being afraid to fully go into the organic matrix, because of previous periods of destruction. And so we're exploring how this could be an implant, because the fear itself is actually what is destroying the energy, because think about it, the energy is already here, right? The energy of New Earth, the energy of Lemuria, the energy of Gaia consciousness, it's already here. And so our rejection or fear of it is what is destroying it. So through us being afraid of it, we're actually doing the thing that we're afraid of. Does that make sense? Okay, so now this energy has swerved to the front here. Let's see here. Okay. Whew. Yeah, so there's a part of the integration here where we recognize that Sorrel and all of us who are feeling this way, that we are actually inherently that energy. We're inherently that nature magic. Whoo, whoo. That is literally what you're made of. Ooh. It's okay. Just allow these inorganic implants to get pulled out of here that are in conflict with this integration. Just breathe and allow the energy to move through your body as deeply as you can. Allow the energy to come through. Whew. Yeah, so I'm hearing that there's certain experience of deceit, like in order to create the false matrix, they had to really trick you to believe that you're separate from it when you aren't at all. And it's only through tricking you that you're separate from it that you can actually create out of alignment with it, which is the process of destroying it. Does that make sense? Whew. So we're pulling out all of these distortions and implantation of deceit that has tricked you into believing that you are not in the organic matrix. Whew. And they are membranes of energy. Oh, I love you, Sarah. Whew. Okay, so this is really deep here, Sorrel. You've really brought us into this really deep thing, because this is this energy of deceit. And it has to be so deep and so clever. To actually trick and lie and deceive these infinite divine creator beings to believe in something different, in something which opposes our soul's nature to create a false matrix and make us believe that, we're not in the original organic reality. I mean, that's pretty impressive, actually. I think my neighbor's dog like it better here. How are you feeling, Sorrel? Are you still feeling that fear? Is bad you feeling like? And if anyone else would like to share how they're feeling and how energy is moving for you as well, please don't hesitate to do that. The feminine energy does all the work, but we were taught the masculine does it, and we just help. Right, the whole lunar thing. We get our life force from the sun. We come from a man's rib. What? What are you talking about? Show me one man that did not come out of a vagina, and I will consider it. Just one. Just show me one. Oh, goodness. So Sora says, I'm questioning how we were first tricked or what led us away. I'm not sure if I'm explaining well. So when you say that, it brings to mind actually, and maybe Nicole, you can expand on this, but I'm seeing almost like this energetic overlay that came in and from the higher dimensions first. It might have happened. There's something about the planetary Merkaba and how it was reversed.
I do have something to add. You're done.
Mm-hmm. Yep, no, go ahead.
Okay, the way that that I've seen it is that the true representation of the masculine and feminine would be the sun, the earth, but we've been taught that it's the sun and the moon. The sun is the masculine and the moon is the feminine, and all she can do is reflect the glory of the sun and cast the light onto the earth. But what I understand is the earth is the feminine and the moon would be the child of the earth, although I believe that the moon was, and so it does have a very feminine connection to it, but it's more the mother part of the feminine energy. And one day I asked the sun, well, why, if you really are equal, why are you so much huger than the earth? And he said, really, if you boil me down to just my essence, I'm smaller than the earth. I'm just, so he says that, anyway, that's so I think that the mythology around that was skewed purposefully so that we would just see ourselves as this distant object that revolves around something that revolves around the man. So I think we were taught that we're just supposed to revolve around and cast light on the ego or the penis or whatever of that was just a little thing orbiting the actual man. Okay, so that's it, and I'm going to mute myself.
That's deep. Yeah. And when you think about it then in that way, when you're talking about the sun and the size and, the earth, it's like, I feel like the complexity that exists on the earth is much greater than the sun, and the sun is actually fueling that creation as well. It's like the creation, it's like the artist is designing the creation, and the sun is fueling it, and it's like really this co-creative experience. And of course, obviously, like all of this complexity and the living systems exist on the earth. So in that sense, it's like dense in creation. Whew. All right. Yeah, cycles are a very complex thing to talk about as well. Whew. Okay, so let's see. It seems like the reverse of the Merkaba happened at the end of Atlantis when things blew up. That it created this like topple and really damaged the planetary energy body. And I feel like the moon is a really big conversation because I was binging the show Magicians yesterday or the day before, and it is a great show, by the way. If you guys want to watch it, it's really deep, and it's got a lot of stuff that like is just very. It's like the people that wrote that show did a lot of research, because I literally cast spells in similar ways. But anyway, the last episode that I watched, it was actually about moving the moon, and they were trying to move the moon because of something called the harmonic convergence that was going to actually destroy the whole world. And so the whole episode is about them. Yes, it is on Netflix. The 5th final season is on YouTube. But anyway, Bruno. So the whole episode circles around these magicians that are trying to move the moon out of the way so this cosmic alignment can't happen and, you know, destroy the whole planet. And they were trying to move the moon, but then at the very end, they actually broke the moon in half. So it was very interesting that we're now talking about the moon today. Because there's a lot of, so I have no, defined opinions about the moon, just different things that I've learned about it and how I feel about it. But I know that in a lot of indigenous shamanic practices, like in the ancient Toltec and Mayan lineages, the shamans will go through their training and they would only become a shaman if they can not be influenced by the effects of the full moon. So it's like there's this common link between all of these indigenous cultures that practice multidimensionality and shamanism, that, you know, the moon actually encourages negative astral influence. And, you know, there's a lot of folklore about werewolves, you know, transforming in the moon. So it's only actually kind of in the modern times when people have distorted those stories to worship the moon. It's like when we were, like, so many different indigenous cultures, actually it was quite the opposite. So So, Colleen, it could actually be a different moon that you're connecting to as well, because in the Mayan cliffs, my sign is actually the red galactic moon. And the moon could be a transmission station. It could be your own moon chakra. Like, you could be way out, a cosmic, galactic, solar chakra that you have, your own moon, right? And that our physical moon just represents that connection that you have to your own moon. So another thing is that I know that the moon has recently been hijacked because, you know, this whole thing about the moon chain lineage. And for those of you who have read my book, or it's a PDF that's available in our course forum, the moon has become a symbol for the Illuminati because, you know, as somebody said, the moon represents the subconscious, but actually there's not really supposed to be a subconscious, I think. Like, there's nothing that needs to be not conscious.
Can I say something else about the moon?
Yeah.
I think that where humanity really got hacked was when we were put into, we were forced into a genetic cycle of our hormones peaking every month, where, like, other animals don't do this. They may go into when it's time to get pregnant, or when they already, but we're always in this, and women are under the of hormones that make us want to serve others and forget our own dreams, and make us see our only worth our bodies and reproduction. At the same time, the hormones that have hijacked men are things that make them want to dominate, to have sex all the time, and to see women's bodies as things, as the same thing that we're, you know, the thing that we have to, it's like programmed in. And I think that the moon, the way we ovulate in cycle with this moon we have now, I think it's possible that we had an organic moon before and it's been hijacked. But the moon that we have now, that's what keeps us, I would say, like 80% of our time we're trying to fight off hormones that make us want to serve others, or for men, or if you have a strong masculine energy, lots of testosterone, hormones that make you take advantage of other people and make you a little more. So I just want to add that moon, just use your intuition and, you know, get your own information.
Haley's been having dreams for years where there are 2 moons in the sky. Fascinating. So yeah, I definitely 800,000% agree with everything that Nicole just said, even just in that, you know, it's a weaponized thing. It's a weaponized energy, because I was just saying about this concert that I'd gone to of Ariana Grande, and there's like a giant moon that descends upon the stage and it stays there the whole time. And then, so as soon as I saw the moon, I actually got guided to search moon chain lineage, which is a real thing, on Lisa Renee's Ascension Glossary. And I kid you not, the article says that the moon chain lineage are genetically modified beings who are here to basically perpetuate a system of sexual misery upon humans. And then I just kept seeing like the moon on like all these different musicians, or, you know, they're not really musicians, they're more like mind controlling puppets, but in their music videos on different stages. And so here's the thing about the subconscious, is that I don't actually believe that there's supposed to be a subconscious. Like, think about the person that created this whole idea about the subconscious. Literally works, you know, for the CIA's Freud, right? If we can convince people that there's a subconscious, then we can convince them that there's a part of you that don't know about yourself. Then they can program that part to be whatever. And that's how mind control works in the CIA and in the MK Ultra programs to begin with. And, you know, the MK Ultra programs have their spectrum as well. So while the celebrities like, you know, Justin Bieber, I've seen him in the astral plane many times, I've been tracking him. I know that they have drugged him and made him done terrible things that he's not aware of. And that's how they split your consciousness from like the conscious part and the unconscious part. And if you have a lot of unconscious parts, that is when, you know, the mind control can actually act. Because if you're fully aware of your soul and all of your energy body and all the parts of who you are, which is actually how we're meant to be existing, then you can't really be mind controlled, right? So in my understanding and connection with the moon, then, you know, as the red galactic moon in the Mayan dream spells, is that the moon energy is supposed to be a transmission station of consciousness. Now that transmission could easily be hijacked to transmit, you know, mind control frequencies versus organic frequency. And so Haley, with your dream about there being 2 moons, you know, there could be an organic moon. It doesn't even have to be a physical moon. And in that sense, actually, you know, when we begin to recalculate and restructure the energy of moon to becoming the beacon, the transmission station, and we can start to transmit the organic energy. Whew. Yes, and just one more note about the menstrual cycles. It's crazy that our whole society believe that we have to depend on these hormone changing chemicals and drugs, when there are very simple practices that ancient people have done for a long time to nourish our body and to recycle our eggs and to sustain fertility for long periods of time. And of course, if we're losing our eggs, you know, every month, then this is actually a part of the death programming that keeps us and our lifespan very short as well. So the Taoist people, they practice these different Qigong practices that actually then you have the power and sovereignty to control your menstrual cycle and decide sovereignly and consciously when you want to have children, because you are a sovereign creator, and this is something that your soul is able to decide with souls from the other side. And so think about, how much power it would give to all the people if all of the humans, the controllers love to say, oh, we need to help people in poor countries, with their population and blah, blah, blah. But, the real way that we can help everyone is to educate them about energetic practices and sovereignty, because we literally have the ability. The body was built in this way where we can communicate with her and decide when we create people. And because creating a person is such a profound and sacred thing, which this very truth has been so distorted in our society, right? Because they want us to create unconsciously, so we stay in this numbed out, disconnected space. What are you working on there, Nicole? I'm curious.
My washcloths have been unraveling, so I'm mending them.
Oh.
Like the sixth one. It's these new washcloths I bought. And they, well, whatever. Anyway, it helps me focus.
My mom wanted to put me on birth control. Yeah. I had an IUD. I yanked that thing out myself. It made me so crazy. I was like, I called the hospital. They're like, there's a 6-month waiting period. I'm like, ah! Just like, no. My body was like, get this out of me now. It's been years, and I'm still healing the scar tissue of my cervix from that thing. Just from it having been in there. It's like ridiculous. But this is deep, right? It's like the woman's body literally channels infinite creative energy. We give birth to realities. The cervix is the gateway of this creation. And so if we have pain and control and lack of sovereignty and feelings inferior to, domination and all of those energies, they pass through our body, and that's the kind of reality that we're creating. And so that's why we clear these energies out, because even if we intellectually think that we want to create something different, if our energy body is just perpetuating and creating that old reality just because it's what's programmed inside of us, then there's going to be conflict, and we're not going to get anywhere. And, that's when things don't work. It's like you think that you want to create in the new earth, but then your body literally can't function because there's a different programming that's in the energy body. So that's why we're focusing so much on the metaphysical, because that's really where it begins. And that's where the real work comes in. And we can pretend, there's a lot of people who are like, oh, I'm so spiritual. Look, I got really rich. I have like $20,000 carpet in my house with the face of the goddess on it. And you're like, okay, like, it just looks like you're real spiritual there. Like, what else have you done? And they're like, oh, I travel to Bali like 3 times a year with my girlfriends, and we, have our champagne in our goddess temple, and we worship the moon. And you're like, okay, all right. Trickery. So we're recognizing how important and how profound this work that we're doing. We're literally ripping out this control system from inside out, right? We're taking the reality back and remembering that actually we're the ones that are creating the reality, which is so empowering, right? The only way that the false matrix and the dominators or whatever could perpetuate this false reality is by tricking us into believing that we have to create it. And as soon as we wake up from that, we're like, wait a minute, I'm creating this thing. Then power left for them. All we have to do is clear all of it out. Of remember, we're creating. There's literally nothing they can do. Right. Yeah, and so Carolyn, just breathe into the lower body, into the cervix. The cervical area is something that is really strong today. Releasing and clearing from that place. Can we uncreate alien controllers? Yes, yes we can. Yes, we can. That is definitely why I'm in this universe. I caught a real good glimpse of it when I was coming in here. Yes, there's actually nothing that we're fighting too, because and I've had to, really remind myself this last couple weeks has been so rough in the astral plane, but I was a part of the ceremony where we removed these, top guns of the alien controllers back in 2017, and I was very specifically shared with that, everything that we're witnessing in the 3D that's crumbling is actually just an echo, is falling apart. It's the minions that still need to be cleaned up, and our memories and the memories and our imprints that we need to clear, but there's actually not a huge battle. Like, we've already won. There's no chance that we could quote unquote lose. Like, there's no war. Doesn't mean that there's no work for us to do. Of course there is. So yeah, I feel like period cramps could be a wide variety of things. One of them is definitely hormone imbalances. I can definitely see, eating not in alignment with our body, and also ancestral sexual pain and trauma as well. But yeah, literally our only job right now is to reclaim our creatorship. That happens first metaphysically in our energy body. And then everything that we do and create and express from that place will be an action of creating the new earth. And if we don't restore and clear this and start from the metaphysical plane, then no matter how hard we try, things that we express and create will still be perpetuating the false reality. And I think that this is the trap that a lot of New Agers fall into, whereas like they receive an intellectual download or understanding and they're like, I'm enlightened, like love and joy, whatever. And then that spark opens and percolates through the whole body and they're like, why? Either they get famous and they start, doing the whole guru thing, or that they can't figure out how to actually get out of the false matrix. Yeah, okay, so this process of the deer exercise is literally eating up your menstrual blood from the inside, recycling the energy, moving and alchemizing the energy of the menstrual blood so you're not losing it and leaking it out at all. And this process takes, when I started practicing within 1 month, my period was like 1 day long. So, and then I stopped because I freaked out. I was like, I don't even know if I want to stop my period completely. It's like an exploration. Because when you're in that place of sovereignty where you're literally choosing and deciding, you really have to understand, what and why you're doing things, right? So yes, this practice is powerful and you can really begin to recycle your blood and not be under control of things and energies outside of you. But, I felt like I wasn't, at the time, I didn't have enough information to decide if I really did want to cease my menstrual cycle altogether, because there were a lot of other information out there, you can put your blood on plants and everything else like that. I was like, do I really want to not have my period blood at all? Now, at this point in my life, I think yes. And that after I give birth to my child, I'm going to begin to practice this exercise again, which again allows you to basically eat all of the essence of your menstrual blood through your energy body, and it preserves your eggs. So instead of losing one egg or a few eggs every month, you can actually preserve those eggs and not release them at all, and people can stay, fertile all the way into their old age. Of course, this extends our life. That's why they call them practices of immortality. Okay, so let's take a pee break, because tense intensity. Yeah, like knowing that this technology exists and that it was actually designed, like this is how our bodies were designed to exist. It just blows my mind, because think of how much it's like, all of these IUDs and birth control, like they were pretty much all tested on indigenous and third world countries, and has left, millions of women severely damaged. It's ridiculous when they could all just do a breathing exercise every day and be completely empowered in their sovereignty of creation. It's crazy. Oh, pee break. Okay. Let me know if you can hear me. Whew, the deer exercise does prolong life and vitality for postmenopausal women as well, because you're just working with the energy. And so you can definitely activate and cultivate that energy of vitality and pull life force energy in through the vessel with this practice post menopause as well. And it's very interesting here too, because I mean, offering our blood to the plants will enliven them, but so will singing and sending energy to them and having a relationship with them and nurturing them with our life force energy as well. And actually, that was one of the reasons, right, that I wasn't sure if I wanted to stop my menstrual cycle, because there are so many things and different practices that we can do with our menstrual blood. But in the process of alchemy, is not like that blood disappears. So that energy can be channeled then in a different way. And knowing that there is this place of embodiment we can be where we're so connected to the living grid of the earth and so in our, so this ties into our original discussion of what we're doing here. Who are we? What are humans in context of all life on earth? Well, we are guardians and creator beings. And so when we are in full embodiment of that, in the visions that I have seen, we should be able to bloom plants out of seedlings. And we saw this in Sorrel's session. I saw her holding just a pile of dirt, and she put a seed in it and just like sent so much love and nourishment and energy to it that this plant just grew out of the seed. And that is kind of what we the connectivity that we could be experiencing in resonance with the planetary field as guardians and creator beings of this planet. And this is something that obviously is still new and exploration. This is what we're going to be practicing at my sanctuary. That is why there's not going to be any EMFs, and that the whole place except a very small quadrant is going to be off grid, because we're really needing to really explore what we're capable of and who we really are. And I feel like I'm just at the very tip of the iceberg, realizing that I've been living inside like 1% of what I am, because I've been told that I'm this tiny human slave that needs to build parts for robots. Like, no. What? Outrageous. So I feel actually pretty complete in all of the information and codes and transmissions that I felt needed to be shared in this container. I feel really happy that we're able to come into this place of lucidity and groundedness about what is happening on this planet and who we are, and how we can actually really move towards a way of being and expressing our energy to actually really make a difference, to really reclaim our power as the guardians and creator beings on this planet and in this quadrant of the universe, to be able to actually make a difference, right? And it's really important for me to stress that part, because one of the main things that we talked about in the first week is that if we're only 35% awake, then everything that we do, everything that we create, everything that we express is still perpetuating the false reality 65% of the time. So if we're here to eradicate slavery and rape and Satanism and degradation of life, then that's not enough. We have to come into full awakening. We have to come into full lucidity of what has happened on this planet, what is happening on this planet, who we are as human beings. And through that process of excavating and restoring our energy body back to this place of absolute clarity and lucidity of ourself as a creator being, from that place, anything that we create, anything that we express will be a direct creational effort towards the organic matrix that we cannot be separate from. Just saying words that can be understood by the mind, but these are things that we experience through our body, through our energy body, through our soul's perception and experience of these energies. Whew. So I'd love to open the space up if there is anyone that have any questions or any other thing that wants to be clarified. Any of the course content that has been unclear that you like more information about. Yeah, and Azra, I totally see that you're flirting in class. I think it's the cutest thing ever. I love you guys so much. So if anyone has any questions, any discomfort in their body, anything that they would like me to clarify on, just write me a message in the chat box. So I'm actually going to keep the past week's videos up forever. I'm also going to create a download link so you can download them and keep them forever. And then I'm actually probably going to re-record this. I feel like it's valuable enough that I will re-record it. And so when I do that, to offer it as a offering, you will have access to that as well, to the re-recordings of them. So with the proper ceremonies and the recordings and everything. Because yeah, the codes take a long time to integrate. And we just gotta keep wrestling with it layer by layer. So yes, we're having a graduation ceremony on Thursday, this coming Thursday. And I will send an email about that. So the same time, at 9 a.m. Mountain Time, which is 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Hi, Bruno. Let's see. That's a neighbor's dog. All right, Tarina, let me check in with the energy here. Whew. Okay, so it seems like the left shoulder here, it's an oppressive energy. This energy came from a male influence in your life, somebody that was kind of critical and kind of sarcastic. And he would make offhanded remarks. It's almost like if you were like, oh, look at this beautiful thing, they would like spin it around into something negative towards you, almost like just like offhandedly though, and it's very subtle. And so over time, this built up into this tension. Whew. I will tell you guys that since I'm so pregnant right now and I've been spending like 4 hours a day in my bathtub, I'm so psychic. It's crazy. Like the energies that are coming through are just so clear, and I hope it never goes away. I'm just like, I hope I'm pregnant all the time. This is great. Well, this is one of the good parts of it, I guess. So on. I'm gonna try to sustain this. Okay, so one of the things I'm considering doing is actually continuing to do these groups. Maybe like on a monthly basis, you know, like for like $33 a month or something, I'll do like weekly transmissions. I'm really not sure how that's gonna work. It'll probably be way later, like in a few months. Maybe Kara will participate. And so I'll send out emails about that, because I feel like I'm gonna keep these teachings, and I feel like there's probably 3 main things that I'll offer, and it'll be good to have live transmissions as well. Though I might just offer it over YouTube Live and take donations. I think that's what it's end up gonna be. So yeah, and in the meantime, if everybody is okay, I feel like there's already, I can send out like a email list. Like next time I send out the email, instead of doing the hidden email, I can put them all in the you can see it bar. And that way you can have each other's email as well and just reach out, you know, amongst yourselves. If you're okay with that, I can do that. So yeah. And for those of you that I owe sessions, please email me. I'm having a hard time just keeping track of like what planet I'm on. So if I owe you a session, just email me, and we will figure it out. All right. Love you, Carolyn. Amanda feels a block in her heart, like I can't get deep bliss or deep emotions of love. So this might actually be a J seal. Amanda, I'm not sure if you've seen the recording from Thursday, 2 days ago, but I talked a little bit about the J seal removals, and actually in that there's like a week 8 bonus folder in the course forum, but I posted this little program for self removal of the J seals. So you can download that and work with it if you feel called, which I think that you're ready for. Actually, it feels like it's time. But there's one actually over the heart. It blocks us off from the fourth dimension and accessing and moving through the 4th dimension to feel deep levels of love is actually called the Zeta seal, like Zeta Reticuli. So that might be a part of that. Whew. Yeah, and as these seals are very much connected between your body and the planetary body, they take a little bit longer to dissolve. Like, you can hear there are practitioners online that say like they can remove it, but even if they remove the seal, like the imprint and the geometry will still be in the energy body. So it takes a while to clear out, because if it was that easy, we'd all be free by now. So it's something that we are working on. Apparently Mia's covered in tinfoil. I have no idea what people are talking about. Nicole, do you know, do you have anything to add about the J seals? Have you worked with them? Have you seen them? Do you remove them? Nicole, here's one of the most talented psychic surgeons I have ever had the pleasure of working with. Her and Barbara Buck saved my life on a regular basis, because I'm kind of not afraid of anything, and then I get in trouble sometimes and I'm like, help me. And they have never let me die. So does that JCO removal protocol also help you remove them from other people? Well, see, once you understand where they are and how it feels and how they feel and what they are, and you can work with that and remove them from your own body, then other people's bodies are kind of the same. They're just extensions and the kind of further away aspects of yourself. So I would say yes, it does. And more importantly, because your body is fractally connected to the earth, when you remove the seals from your body, you're actually healing the earth's grid as well. So that's probably the most fascinating and exciting part of that, because so J stands for Jehovah, Jehovian seals. Been really intense. Like I was saying on Thursday, I didn't even think I was getting that far, and I was doing it for like 4 hours in my bathtub, and when I came out, there was literally a rifle scope pointed through my window on my bedroom wall, and I knew that these beings had possessed my neighbor to do that, to scare me, but they didn't really have much energy to possess this guy. So actually, in the end, I was really happy because they couldn't really do anything. And this guy was possessed for like 20 minutes, and then he started feeling bad. And I was like, if that's all the juice they have left, then we're doing really good. So just, be aware that these are, when you remove all the JCOs from a planetary body, it literally takes away all the food source that these interdimensional entities need to survive. So it is, in a sense, probably a very important thing in this process of restoring planetary integrity of energy. What do they feel like? So for me, it feels like, okay, say you have a bike and you want to ride the bike, but there's like a little piece of rock stuck in a gear. So every time the wheel turns, it goes. So that wheel turning is your energy flowing around your body. And when the energy moves through the seal, it kind of glitches out. And it's like you can't have a smooth flow of energy through the body. Of course, there's so many different layers of the energy body too, so it takes time to become aware of all of them. I only was guided to start clearing these seals after 7 full days of meditation. And for me, meditating is just coming into awareness of my energy body. Because, as they say, know thyself. Take inventory. So the only thing that is important for us to do is to be aware of our energy and where we are in our process of returning to the truth of our being, which is that we are divine creator beings. There are literally 8 billion different things that are trying to distract us from that, including enlightenment. Yeah, and again, this has taken many years of meditating. Like, if our energy body have been disconnected from our free flowing through the earth to the cosmos for thousands of years, it's going to take some time to reconnect all these parts of ourselves. And it's important for us to be gentle. Trevor Hall has a great song about it. Can't rush our healing. One breath at a time. And if it gets a little bit too much, then go back into the heart and remember how loved you are. Keep getting stuck in the headspace when trying to scan. Yeah, I can feel those implants in there, actually. But Sarah, it's only uphill from here. Is not time. It's like, yeah, you're coming into awareness of all of these energies, and now you can only feel more free. You can only feel more expensive and less pain because you'll be actively moving through them from now. And it won't be like this confusion of not knowing why you feel so crummy. If you're not feeling like an empowered, divine creator being capable of anything you desire, then just go back inside and keep hacking at it until you do. There's nothing more important. Literally, there is nothing more important to do. And unfortunately, I can help, Nicole can help, but ultimately, no healer can sit there all day and do all the processing for anyone else. So know that your body is a fractal of the planet, that when you do this work on yourself, you're liberating the planet. That if you see something that you're really distressed about in the world, that all you have to do is find that vibration inside. So empowering. Don't have to spend $5,000 on a crystal. The most incredible technology of healing you were born into. And then, that's not to say you'll never do anything in the 3D external reality, because you probably will. And at a certain point in your healing, it'll be so natural, you'll just know that certain actions in the world need to be taken. And if you're not sure what they are, that's great. If you don't know what the action is, don't try to make it happen. Don't try to think about it. Because maybe your energy system is just not in a place. Like, your soul is in integrity. So if your soul is in alignment with integrity, and there's still an energy inside that, if you start creating and making actions, that you will be actually not fully lucid, not fully integrated, and thus actually still be playing the false matrix game. That's usually why, actions aren't coming to us. And then it's easy because we just go back to coming into energetic alignment and integration remembering that you're not doing nothing. You are restoring the planetary grid as you come back into your creator self. And that is such a deeply great task that it's difficult to do. That's why people are so easily distracted to do things and watch things and take classes and everything but going inside. You are all you need. Love you, Amanda. Sending love to your kiddos. Bring them to the sanctuary in September. I want to see them. I want to see them run around and make streams appear out of the ground and create contact with interdimensional beings. Remember that as our regular reality. If you want to dress up as a fairy for our graduation party, we should definitely do it. Yeah, and you know, we have all gone through so much in the last 2 months as far as our healing and the processing goes. I recognize that in all of us. I hope it was worth all the crying and screaming. I hope that we're feeling good, feeling better, feeling more at ease and more clear, more relaxed. Feeling more empowered with what you have. So, does anyone have any questions or reflection that they'd like to share today? Any requests for this coming Thursday? Anything that you feel incomplete and that we can bring closure to? Of course, if you think of it later, just send us an email. We're just getting started. Just getting started. Okay, never mind. I was trying to play some music, but it didn't work. Oh yeah, so gonna just have to come to the festival and hear Azra play some tunes, and DJ Azra is gonna lend us a bump and dance floor. Hi, Angie. Hello. Space is cozy. We never want to leave. All right. Okay. All right, everybody. I'm sending you all so much love. I will see you on Thursday and forever in the oneness of all of creation. Bye for now.